my friends. Okay, so you should be able to see my Dentrix software. Of course, I have a blank schedule. I haven't added anything to my schedule for today, but just bear with me because I am using a sample tutor database. I don't get into my software every day and schedule appointments. So, but I want to show you is this report here. Okay. So if you are on the appointment book, we are going to focus most of our session today, our live webinar today, on the treatment manager. This is my favorite report in Dentrix. Like I said, mining for gold. Okay. This report is a gold mine. So as soon as you open the treatment manager, you are going to get a window that looks like this. Okay. I don't want you to get too intimidated by this window. I know it looks like there's a ton of things in here. Okay. And if you want to filter it in a few different ways, you certainly can do that. But I don't want you to filter it down too much because then you won't get a comprehensive list that you're really looking for. So really the most important things that you're looking for is here in the middle of the page, you will see the patient status. Just click patient, okay? We don't care about non-patients. We don't care about inactive patients. We really only care about, are they an active patient in my practice? You could filter by billing types. I don't really think you need to filter by billing types here because if you have sent a patient to collections or they're a family, friend, employee, they probably have an inactive status already. So I don't think you really need to worry about billing types. Now, the select provider section here, if I was to select just DDS1 or DDS3, that is looking at the patient's primary provider on the family file. It is not looking at who treatment planned that treatment. Okay, so I keep it on all just because most offices, the primary provider could be a couple different providers if you have multiple doctors in your practice. You could also be using like a corporation ID if you are a corporate entity with multiple associates in your practice. So I always keep it at all. You can decide that now that you know how it pulls that provider ID. It pulls from the primary provider field on the family file. And then the other thing I would recommend doing is putting in a date here for the treatment plan dated from and to. We probably don't want to look for treatment from the beginning of time. We probably want to look at pretty current treatment plans. That way it's still fresh in people's minds. It was recently treatment planned, so it is current active treatment. At this point in time, I probably would look back maybe to the beginning of the year. So I'm going to go back to January 1st of this year. And then I would just leave it at all through today. And so you can decide if you want to go back to the beginning of the year, go back 12 months, however you want to do that. But I would put in a dated from. That way you are filtering it down to current treatment that has been treatment planned relatively recently. That way it's still fresh in people's minds. They might be waiting for you to reach back out to them. Now, the place where we're going to kind of add this other layer of filtering to this report is this lower section here for patients with primary dental insurance. And I'm going to put in, say, the remaining benefit. Like maybe I want to filter it down to patients that have at least, say, $500 of benefits left, okay, or $250, however you might want to do that. You at least need patients that still have some remaining benefits, and you want them to take advantage of that before the end of the year. So you could put in the benefit renewal. I'm just going to put in a dollar amount. You could also filter it by carrier if you really wanted to do it like that. I don't think that's really necessary unless you thought that that was necessary. I'm just looking for primary benefits. You could do secondary benefits if you wanted to, but then you'd have to make sure that they still have, $500 of primary benefits remaining and then a certain amount of secondary benefits remaining. So they would have to meet both of those criteria in order to show up on this report. So I might just start with primary, just so you don't filter your report down too much. The other thing I'm going to show you is this report looks similar to a Microsoft Excel spreadsheet. It has columns of data, and then it will show you all the patients that fit into this filtered report. So if I click on this button here that says show columns, then it's going to show me all of the columns of data that I have available into my report. So you can see my report is going to show the guarantor flag, the patient name, the date, something was added to the treatment plan total. You could add insurance estimates here. You could add how much remaining benefit do they have on their primary, on their secondary. If they have any future appointments scheduled, when is that appointment scheduled? And then over here on the left side, these are all columns of data that you could add to the report. So everything here on the right side is already included in the report, but these columns of data over here on the left are things that you could add into your report. So you can decide that. And then as soon as you click OK, it's going to generate your report. Now, if you get this message, just click yes here, and then it's going to pull up a report here. Now, of course, I don't have that much data in my system. Now, your list may be really long. You may have a lot of patients listed on this report. I have one patient, Sally. She had something added to her treatment plan on July 25th, 2025. Her treatment plan total is $920. Estimated insurance is $0. Patient estimate $920. And then she shows up here. It doesn't have the primary remaining. Maybe she has an unlimited plan, so it is pulling her onto this report. But if you had your report listed here and you had the benefits remaining in your system that calculates that, it would show you how much she has remaining here. If I have an office journal entry or a reminder, she does have a next appointment scheduled. You can see she's scheduled with hygiene. So you may just reach out to her. It looks like she's scheduled on my schedule tomorrow. So I may just wait until she comes in tomorrow and say, hey, Sally, you still have remaining dental benefits. Let's get you scheduled for that crown or whatever that might be. Now, if you have several patients listed here, if you have a big, long list of patients, then I would just start my outreach program. Okay. I would either just be working with my patient engagement software, and I might text my patient and say, hey, Sally, this is Dayna. I noticed that you have remaining insurance benefits left, and your plan renews January 1st. Can we get you scheduled for that crown before the end of the year? Our schedule is already filling up. So that's what I would start doing. Now, you may be old school. You may want to just pick up the phone and call Sally. However you're doing that, make sure that you're making your notes in the office journal. So I would open up the office journal and I would see, okay, when was the last time we either texted Sally or when was the last time I called Sally? If you are using any software like Dental Intel, Modento, Practice by Numbers, and you are texting with your patients through those patient engagement softwares, it will auto sync those text messages and some emails into your office journal automatically. So you will be able to see that those contacts that you're making in that software right in your Dentrix office journal. It makes it so easy to see that. So if I was going to text Sally or I was going to just pick up the phone and call her, and I want to make a manual entry into the office journal, then I would just click here. It's going to date and time stamp it for me. It's going to enter in my provider ID if I'm already logged in. And then I can just put, I might just put here unscheduled treatment, sent Sally a text message through, your software or whatever. And then you could just click OK. And then you would see that outreach message here in your office journal. So I love the office journal for that central hub of patient contacts when you're contacting them about unscheduled treatment or getting them scheduled for recare. Maybe you have a question that they had a question about their balance. Anytime you're talking to a patient about non-clinical conversations, I know unscheduled treatment, you might think that that's clinical, but it's really an admin task. All of that should go in the office journal. It becomes this centralized hub of patient communication. And I love that some of these authorized, approved third-party vendor applications sync text messages right into your Dentrix office journal. It just is fantastic. Okay. So another thing that I love about this treatment manager report is it's an interactive report. So you can see all of the tools at the top of the toolbar. You can jump right over to your patient chart by clicking on the patient chart, and it will open up what does this patient have on her treatment plan. You can see here on her patient chart, as soon as it opens up, you can see, let's see, what does she have on her chart? Oh, some scaling and root planing. Okay, great. I can see she's got 4 quads of scaling and root planing. If this patient has already received a treatment estimate, I might find that in my document center. I don't see any clinical notes here. So, remember, I'm using a tutor database. I don't always have lots of data, but I would assume there would be a clinical note here in the patient record. I can open up that clinical note, see if there's anything that I should know about this patient. Open up to see if there was a treatment estimate given to this patient. I might jump over to her family file. So I love this report because it's very interactive. I would not want you to print this report, okay? You can jump over to the family file. I can see okay, what insurance does she have? How much benefits does she have available? So I can see, oh, she might be a cash patient. Well, you would be able to jump into the family file and see, okay, what insurance does she have? How much benefits does she have available? I can jump into the document center from here. I could open up the, what else would you might? Forms, if you want to jump into the Dentrix forms. So this report is very interactive. So don't print it. It's such a waste of paper to print. And also treatment plans is constantly updating and syncing and getting scheduled. So you really want to make sure that you're working through the most up-to-date and current list of patients. Another thing that I'm going to point out here, and I don't know if it's available with your third-party software, or even maybe if you're not using a third-party software. I did this in my own practice a long time ago. I don't know if it still works, but you can certainly try it out. This is one of those reports that you can copy to clipboard. Here you go. Copy to clipboard. And then you can paste it into a Microsoft Excel spreadsheet. It's one of the few reports in Dentrix that you can copy into an Excel spreadsheet. And I know a lot of you do like to work out of Excel. Not really sure why, but you do. And but sometimes you can take data that's in an Excel spreadsheet and save it as a CSV file, and then upload a CSV file into a third-party email software. Maybe you could upload it into your third-party software. So just that's another option. Okay. I used to do that in my own office. I don't know if you can still do that, but one thing that you could do is, remember in these columns, you could add the email address into this report, and then it would have the email address as a column in this report. Okay. So let's just run through this again together. The treatment manager, you can get to the treatment manager from the appointment book, which is my favorite place. You live in the appointment book all day long. Or if you already have the patient chart open, you can get to the treatment manager also from the patient chart. It's the green chair with the $sign on it. Okay. So you open up the treatment manager, and then from here, I would recommend patient status, dated from, and how much benefits do they have remaining on their insurance. And you can also pick a carrier. Maybe you say, if you want to do everybody, I would just leave it all to all. If you want to drill it down to a specific insurance company, you could certainly do that. And then click OK, and it will generate you a report. It's a very interactive report. I don't recommend printing it, but this is your best report for following up with patients that have unscheduled treatment. And this time of year, filtering it also by unused insurance benefits. Okay, I hope that has been helpful for you. I'm going to check and see if there is any questions. I'm going to stop sharing here. Okay, my friends. So I want to know from you, if you are watching this on a recorded platform, you're watching this recorded, so you have an opportunity to put comments into the comment section. I want to know, like, how has this worked for you? Because we all can learn from each other. What kinds of tips and tricks have you learned about using this report for an outreach for patients that have unscheduled treatment and unused insurance benefits? I would love to learn something new. I only know what I know. I only know from working with hundreds of offices, but maybe I haven't worked with you and you have a special tip that you have for using the Dentrix Treatment Manager report. So put it in the comments. We would love to hear how you're using it. What kind of success are you having with your outreach program? Are there any kind of really unique things that you do at the end of a benefit year? So we're kind of talking about the end of the year when benefits are renewing, the 1st of January. So what kinds of unique things are you doing in your practice to reach out to patients that have unscheduled treatment and unused insurance benefits? We would love to hear from you as well. And all right, I hope that you enjoy the rest of your day, and I look forward to watching your journey of becoming a high-performing dental team.